Alright, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. A couple weeks ago, I pruned one of my smaller ficus microcarpa, and I had pointed out that I found this while I was on a walk. It's a Spongebob pineapple. I think it's from a fish tank. I actually have bought a couple of fish tank decorations that I intended on doing a root over rock with, or a root over object with. I'm not sure that I like the material of them, and I really haven't had the right material, I think, to go ahead and experiment with it, with them. So I'm just going to hold on to them for a little while longer. This one's a lot more solid. I don't really have any idea what it's made of. I think I found a little bit of a better tree than the original one that I had intended to, but first I'm just going to kind of show you what I have in mind here. Obviously this is the door, and then there's a porthole here, and then there's three kind of up higher. And what I want to do is I want to bury it up to about there, which is going to cover up the lower two portholes and leave the upper three exposed. So it'll be, have soil up to about there. And I want to try to get, I'd like to try to get a root in every porthole and hope that they all make it. Sometimes when you go disturbing them, things like that, I might get a root for each one of them and have a couple roots kind of die off. Of course, there's nothing to say, if I can get a healthy tree to go in there, nothing to say that it won't regrow new roots. But the first thing I want to do is, because, I want to set it on top, I'd like to have this in here just to, make it a little more recognizable, but it is broken. I'm going to maybe guess that that's why whoever had it decided to throw it away. I bought a carving set for my Dremel. Turned out it was like one of these carving sets for more like engraving, like maybe your name in a piece of artwork. And so I don't really care if I bust up those bits or anything like that. So I'm going to take and score it on both sides. See if I can't just break it off. Because as much as I would like to keep it, I want the tree to set on it. And I don't want to have to worry about that being in the way. I'm going to go ahead and try that first, see what goes on here, and then we'll get started. Alright, so that worked a little better and quicker than I ever thought it would. I had intended to kind of score it up and then kind of come in and finish it up, just so I wouldn't have to do the whole thing on camera. It's hard to hold the Dremel and have my eye protection on, have the camera where it's set up right. But went outside and got it started, and sure enough, that tool just went right on through there and popped it right on off. Got the top of it off there. This is the tree that I was originally kind of thinking of. It's like one of the smallest cuttings I've ever gotten to strike. I haven't looked at the roots in 2 years, so it's been in this pot for 2 years, so I do intend on repotting it here real soon. And if this other tree that I have in mind doesn't work out, I still may use it. But I think this might be the tree for it here, in that it already has some longer roots I may be able to use as long as I can kind of get them up out of there. I'm gonna have to go ahead and repot this either way. If I try to take it out and see if I can get those roots to pull out with it, I'll probably have to cut them off a little bit. That might take care of two potholes. Hopefully there'll be more in there, or portholes. But hopefully there'll be more in there I can use too. But I'm going to go ahead and get everything shifted around, see what I can get started. Alright, let's see how this goes here. Sometimes I have a way of getting everything all lined up, and then when I start talking about it, I'll hold it way up here and forget that you guys can't see what I'm doing. But anyway, I had this. Actually, I think I had it in this pot, and I had originally had it set up where I was going to have it as a cascade. It's got a pretty good size, for a cutting that I had to go. It had a pretty good size bend in it. I have a couple other that I'm also planning on doing as cascades. Quite honestly, they're not really working out all that well. I'm still going to try with the other two, but this one I just gave up on, decided I'd try to stand it up. As I've been looking at it, it's got, just some awkward branching. I'd still like to be able to use that bend some, and so maybe that would be the apex. I do always try to leave some growth on when I repot. These days, at first, I did always like defoliate everything, so it'd be nice and photo worthy. I try to leave a little growth, but I don't want super long leggy growth, so I'm going to pop that guy off. And that one too. And then while I've just got the pruners out here, there's a lot of crotch growth in here. Just going to go ahead and take care of all that too while I've got them out. don't really need to go overboard with that, as right now I just want to see if I can get it on my little SpongeBob thing. And see, this one I actually, since it's just in a little small bulb training pot, I actually wired it right through the drain holes of that. Go ahead and just take that out of there first. And there we go. Now unfortunately both of these roots are coming out of the same drain hole. If there were different drain holes, might have a better chance of getting them to survive or stay intact as a little bit longer than what they are, or than what I might be able to, trying to get both of them out of the same drain hole. I'll have to cut all that off. And let me just see what I can do here. Try to feed that up through there. It was a little easier than I thought it would be. The tools out of the way before I start making a big mess here. So, really hasn't been that long since that repot. Both those roots actually appear to be off of the same root. And then there's another one here. Not much else there. I like that for sitting on top of the rock, or on top of the SpongeBob. So let's see. First thing I'll do is just kind of hold it up. See if everything seems long enough. And it does, actually seems to be a pretty decent fit for it. May actually even be a little bit of a better fit if I could actually go ahead and leave it buried up to there for a little while and let it develop some more roots. Interesting though. Alright, so I think I got my course of action planned out here. And what I'm going to have to do is first, these are the two roots that I cut. They do come from the same root, and then there's some finer roots on top of that. Other than that, all the fine roots that this thing has is actually at the bottom of this one, so I want to try to leave that cluster if I can. I was going to put it in one of my smaller training pots. I kind of wish I had one that was right between this size and this size. I think this one was just a little bit too small, and I think this one here might give me some room where I can kind of maybe work it a little bit without repotting the whole thing. So I'm going to have to plant it a little bit deeper than I thought I would have to, and then since it's a little bit of a bigger pot, I can kind of work it up a little before its next full repot. Definitely got to save those because I'm going to have to take the bottom of some of these off here just to get it into the holes, and I'm definitely not going to be able to fill up as many as I thought I would, but I still, just in knowing all the plants that I have in the current condition that they're in, that if I plan on doing something with this anytime soon, this is the best, candidate I have for it. If I'm gonna be able to pick a front for the tree, I would definitely like to have it, where you're looking at what you see, as the front door of this little SpongeBob house here and everything. So I am gonna get those two bigger ones right into that porthole there. And also try to get, and I know I just got off camera there for a bit after I said I was going to try not to do that, try to get some of those fine roots into that hole as well. And it should sit nice and snug on top of the house like that. And then I've got this clump here, and I think I can get the lower one into that lower hole and the upper one into that one. Probably have to have it at least planted up to that higher porthole there. But we shall see as we get started here how this thing's going to look. I should have already had this in place. I got a shorter tie down for perhaps just the SpongeBob piece, and then a little bit of a longer one if I want to tie it up around the whole tree. And I got some substrate in the bottom. Try to get a little hole ready for it there, and I definitely want it in there. Alright, got enough substrate in there to hold it steady for a second at least. And I will definitely go ahead and use this and tie that tree on there tight. Alright, just enough to get that started there. And then I was thinking I'd tie this onto the fake chimney, but it's not really in the right place. That is going to be on the root ball there, so kind of want to wait. Good deal. Kind of wait till the end to tie it really close. Want to try and force more substrate into the house, if you will. Got it a lot deeper than I originally thought. It's the only real problem I think I might have is that the actual original root ball wasn't that well developed, and it only really had those two sets of roots with two other, you know, like kind of sub branches of roots coming off of it. I wasn't able to really save much of this, and so I wet some sphagnum moss, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it around the edges here, and I'll probably keep this in its recovery zone a little bit longer than I would most of my trees. Most of my trees I leave in a recovery for like a week or two and then just put them right out back out in the sun, just in the interest of trying to let this thing get started. I'll probably leave this in there a little bit longer. The downside to doing this is roots really seem to get into the sphagnum moss, and I could just get a ton of them just shooting out of the top here, and I actually don't want that. I want them shooting down. But since it's not much and it's just right around the edges there, I can always pull it off if I need to. Short little disclaimer here. Usually most people suggest using gloves when they use the sphagnum moss. I've actually been using this for years, and I've never had, the first time I saw that some people have allergic reactions to it, I've been using it for so long, I didn't really see anything of it. And since it was a little more brutal than I thought it was, I'm going to leave all the growing tips that I haven't already cut off, but I am going to take off quite a few leaves. So it'll need less water at first. Should also send a signal to the plant to start growing more leaves, which in turn will make it push more roots. I hope this thing works out. It should look pretty cool. That, again, that's the That's the front. That's where the front door is.